What is it actually like to be a software engineer at a FAANG? You've heard the numbers. $300,000 at 23, $1 million at 32, a lobby with free food and a campus with nap pods. Somebody you knew in college just bought a house at 26. Their job sounds made up. The version you hear is always the same one. The offer, the stock, the exit. Here's the version you don't hear. Entry-level hiring at the 15 biggest tech firms fell 25% between 2023 and 2024. In Q1 of 2026, almost 80,000 people were laid off in tech, and roughly half of it was attributed to AI. The junior role you wanted in 2019 is being quietly deleted by the exact tools the senior people in that building are now paid a premium to wield. Most of the people who get in are gone from the industry before 35. The ones who stay are paid enough to buy almost anything and, on average, don't report being happier than the ones who left. 6 levels. You start at 22. If you make it all the way, you're a principal engineer by 40 with a TC over $1 million, and you spend the rest of your career deciding whether the thing you built was worth what it cost you to build it. Here's what it looks like. Level 1. The intern. You are 20 years old. You are sitting in a conference room in Mountain View or Menlo Park or Seattle. Your badge is red. The badges of the full-time employees are blue. This color difference will be pointed out to you on day 1 by a recruiter who smiles when she says it, and you will not forget it. You are one of several thousand summer interns. Roughly 60 to 70% of you will get return offers. The rest will go back to school with a line on a resume and a private understanding that they were, for 12 weeks, not quite enough. Nobody says this out loud. The evaluation rubric is internal. Your manager will write you a review you will never see. The work is a single intern project, carefully scoped. A dashboard, a migration tool, a feature flag system for an internal tool nobody outside the company will ever hear about. You are assigned a host engineer, a mentor, and a manager. 3 people are watching what you do. The host is your day-to-day. The mentor is your advocate. The manager writes the review. You work 50 hours a week, and you are careful about it because the culture says you shouldn't, but the peer who will also be reviewed against you is in the office on Saturday, and you saw his commit at 11:47 p.m. on Sunday. Everybody is watching and pretending not to. What nobody tells you about the internship is that you are not being evaluated on your code. You are being evaluated on whether you can be managed, whether you take feedback without flinching, whether you ask for help before you are stuck, but not so early that you seem helpless, whether you finish. The technical bar is a floor, not a ceiling. The return offer is about culture fit, and culture fit is a specific, unwritten code that some interns walk in already knowing and others never learn. The offer comes in August. $195,000 total compensation. Base salary $135,000, signing bonus $30,000, stock that vests over 4 years on a schedule you do not fully understand yet. You call your parents from a campus sidewalk. Your mother cries. Your father says, "That's more than I made in my best year." You say thank you. You feel the weight of their pride before you feel anything else, and the weight is heavier than you expected. Level 2, L3, the new grad. You start in July, L3 at Google, E3 at Meta, SDE1 at Amazon. Different letters, same floor. Your total compensation in year 1 lands somewhere around $220,000, which is 2.5 times what your father made in his best year, and you still cannot afford to buy a house in the city you work in. The first 6 months are onboarding disguised as a job. You are assigned a starter project. You break the build twice. You are told gently, it is fine. You learn the internal tools, the internal acronyms, the internal politics. You spend your first full month trying to understand a code review comment that turns out to mean, "This is wrong and you should know why." You work 45 hours one week, 65 the next. Nobody is telling you to. Your peers are doing it. Your manager is doing it. You are doing it because the person in the desk over from you is doing it, and because the second you stop, you can feel yourself falling behind in a race nobody has explicitly named, but everybody is running. The first insider truth nobody tells new grads: you are not actually a software engineer yet. You are an apprentice. The job at L3 is to prove, over 18 months, that you can ship a project without breaking things, take feedback, and learn the company's specific language. The code is the floor. The communication is the ceiling. People who optimize for clever code at this level get labeled technical but not scaling, and that label is almost impossible to shed. You meet 3 people your age in the onboarding cohort. You will stay close to 2 of them for about 11 months. Then you will all get split across orgs, and the friendship will become the thing you nod about in the cafeteria twice a quarter. This is how tech friendships work. Proximity is everything. When proximity ends, usually the friendship does too. Here is the shadow on the floor below you, the one nobody mentions in the all hands. The L3 hiring pipeline has been compressing since 2023. Entry-level offers at the biggest 15 tech firms dropped 25% in a single year. Companies that used to hire classes of 200 L3s now hire 80. The reason is not mysterious. AI tooling, specifically code generation assistance, has compressed the ratio of junior to senior work that makes a senior engineer's output possible. 3 senior engineers with good AI tooling can do what used to require a senior plus 5 juniors. What this means for you specifically is that you have to promote out of L3 on time. 2 years, maximum. If you take 3, HR has a name for you, and it is not a nice name. Your review cycle is every 6 months. Twice a year for the next 2 years, your career will be looked at by a committee that includes people who have never met you. Your girlfriend from college calls less. You call less. The relationship doesn't end with a fight. It ends with a silence that extends until it becomes the answer. Level 3, L5, Senior. You get the promotion. Some of your intern class didn't. They left for startups or for Tier 2 companies that pay $180K instead of $380K. Or for corporate jobs where people go home at 5. You stayed. Your base jumps to $220,000. Your total comp is around $420,000. You are 26 years old. The work changes. You are not just shipping features anymore, you are designing them. You are the engineer who gets pulled into the architecture discussion before the PM has even written the spec. You have opinions now, and people listen to them. And sometimes your opinion is wrong, and the cost of being wrong is higher than it used to be. Your promotion packet took 3 months to write. The packet is 40 pages. It lists every project you shipped in the last 2 years, every cross-functional stakeholder you worked with, every engineer you mentored. The packet is read by a committee of 7 people. You meet 2 of them once. You never meet the others. This is the moment you understand that your career is now being evaluated by people who do not know you, and the only thing they have to go on is the document you wrote about yourself. The second insider truth. FAANG careers are not about being the best engineer. They are about writing about being a good engineer in a format a committee recognizes. The documentation of your work matters more than the work. The engineer who ships 4 great projects and writes poorly about them will get beaten, at promotion time, by the engineer who ships 2 okay projects and writes a packet that reads like a case study. The PIP anxiety starts here. At L5 you are senior enough to be expensive, and not senior enough to be protected. The stack ranking committees are looking at the bottom of every org, every review cycle. Meta calls it PSC, Amazon calls it Focus, Google calls it Perf. The names change. The bottom of the distribution, however it is drawn, is where the pink slips come from. You read the blind thread in bed on a Tuesday night. Current employee at Meta, SWE3, extremely bad WLB, constant fear of PIP and layoffs. You close the app. You cannot close the sentence. Marcus calls that week. Your friend Marcus, who skipped the CS major for HVAC certification at 19. Marcus started his own residential AC installation business at 24, and at 26, which is how old you are now, he has 6 trucks on the road and clears about $180,000 a year, working 45 hours a week with his phone off after 6 p.m. He doesn't know what PSC means. He doesn't know what a PIP is. He asks how you're doing. You say busy. He says, you're always busy. You don't argue. Level 4, L6, Staff. You make it. You are 30, maybe 31. Your total compensation at Google, median, is $579,576. At Meta, it's closer to $775,000. Your base is $280,000. The rest is stock that vests on a schedule, and the schedule is the thing that owns you now. Staff is where the comp curve bends. The jump from L5 to L6 is not 20%, it is 40 to 70%. A staff engineer at Meta can out-earn an L5 engineer at Microsoft by $400,000 a year, for the same years of experience, at the same level of abstract seniority. This is the single highest value promotion in the engineering ladder, and it is why people stay. The work changes again. You are not just designing features, you are designing systems, and the systems outlive the features. You own a technical area. You set direction for 2 or 3 teams. You are in meetings 60% of your week, and the meetings are the work. You are deploying judgment, not code, and the judgment compounds in ways the code never did. The third insider truth: the golden handcuffs are not the money. They are the math the money does in your head. At L6, if you leave before your next stock vest, you walk away from $300,000 to $500,000 of unvested equity. Your next refresh grant will be $800,000 vesting over 4 years, which means at any given moment you are looking at roughly $600,000 of unvested stock sitting in an account you don't own yet. Leaving means leaving that. Every engineer at this level runs this math once a quarter. Most of them run it at 2 a.m. There is a specific Tuesday that almost every staff engineer has. You are in your home office at 2 p.m. You have a problem open in your editor. The problem is not hard. You have solved problems like it hundreds of times. And for the first time in your career, you realize you cannot make yourself care about the answer. You are looking at the screen, and the screen is looking back at you, and there is nothing between the two of you except a feature request your VP cares about because a metric he reports to a director cares about. And the feature is the kind of work you used to do at L4 in half the time, and you are being paid $578,000 a year to not be able to make yourself start. You do not tell anyone about this Tuesday. Not your manager, not your partner, not Marcus. Marcus would not understand and also would, and that is almost worse. You tell nobody, because naming it would require admitting that the thing you spent 10 years climbing toward is a place you are bored in at 30. The engineer who wrote about this on dev.to last year put it better than I can. The ones in bad situations come to their managers and say, "I need to talk about something." The ones in golden handcuffs don't come at all. They have convinced themselves the problem is them, not the job. It is not them. Level 5. L7. Principal. You get the title at 36, or 38. Or you don't, and you stay at L6 for the rest of your career, which a surprising number of people do, and most of them are richer than you think and quieter than you'd expect. At L7, the total compensation crosses $1 million. Netflix L7 median is $1.15 million. Google L7 is around $900,000 to $1.1 million. Meta E7 sits near there. Your base is $350,000, and the rest is stock that grants annually in packets of $1 million plus. You fly business class without thinking about it. You have an assistant. You have 3 engagements a week that a staff engineer would kill for the chance to attend. You are, by every external metric, a winner. The work is organizational now. You own a division's technical strategy. You are in the room where hiring bars are set, where architecture decisions are made that will constrain 1,000 engineers for 3 years, where the platform roadmap for 2028 is being drafted in a room that contains 14 people. You are one of them. You were not in that room 2 years ago. You are in it now. The fourth insider truth: the L7 job is political, and the people who make it to L7 on engineering merit alone usually stop there. The next level, L8, the distinguished engineer, is not a promotion. It is a recognition. Fewer than a few hundred people hold this title across all the major tech companies. You cannot grind your way to it. You either become the kind of engineer whose name is spoken in rooms you are not in, or you don't, and most people don't, and that is fine. Your compensation at this level does something strange to your social life. You stop being able to have honest conversations about money with almost anyone you grew up with. When Marcus tells you he had a good year at $220,000, you say, "That's great, man," and you mean it. And you also know your next RSU vest is 3 times that, and you cannot say so. The distance you manage with Marcus is the distance you now manage with everyone from before. You read a blind post one night. 3.5 years of experience, 310K TC. Perks: I can buy most things without a second thought and can retire early. Cons: I realized I'm not any happier with the extra money. Currently looking for a way out due to WLB and performance review stress. You are 38 with 10 times the comp of the person who wrote that, and the sentence, "I realized I'm not any happier with the extra money," is the truest thing you have read in 6 months. Level 6. The exit. You leave at 42. Or you don't leave. Some people don't leave. They become the senior technical fellow, the distinguished engineer, the named author on the system design paper everyone cites. Their name is the platform. Their phone is the escalation path. They will die at that company, metaphorically and sometimes literally. You leave. You take a staff role at a Series B startup with a title that lets you tell people you are doing something new. The equity is paper, and the paper is probably worth nothing. You don't need it to be worth anything. You have vested, over 20 years, somewhere between $6 million and $14 million in liquid stock from your FAANG tenure, depending on when you joined and how your company's price did. You do not talk about this number. You have learned not to. Or you start a company. Or you join a crypto project that will crash in 11 months. Or you take a professor of practice slot at a university and you write a textbook that will take 4 years. Or you fly fish for a year and stare at a river and wait for the part of you that used to care about dashboards to say something again. The fifth insider truth. The people who leave at 42 with $10 million in the bank are not retired. They are unemployed and rich. There is a difference. The first 6 months feel like a vacation. The next 6 months feel like a held breath. By month 18, more than half of them have taken another job, and the new job pays less and matters more, and they tell themselves that is what they wanted. You see Marcus at your cousin's wedding. He's 43. He has 3 trucks now, down from 6. He sold the other 3 to his foreman last year on a seller finance deal that will pay him $18,000 a month for the next 7 years. He works 30 hours a week. He has 2 kids he coaches in soccer. He asks what you're doing now. You say you're figuring it out. He nods. He does not push. Marcus took a career that has a natural top, and you took one that has an asymptote. And both of you are 43, and the distance between the lives you live is smaller than either of you expected. At 44, you start to think about the interns. You see them at the new company. Red badges, wide eyes, wrong suit. You were that person once. You are now the person that person is trying to become. And the distance between those 2 people is 22 years and a lot of money, and a version of yourself you could describe but could no longer access even if you wanted to. Somewhere in Mountain View right now, it is Monday morning in June. A 20-year-old is walking into a conference room with a red badge. Everybody in the room was once her. Nobody in the room will tell her what she is actually being evaluated on. She will find out in August. She thinks it's the beginning. It is.